Welcome to The Modern Digital Enterprise, the digital transformation podcast from Anexinet, where we discuss a variety of topics that enterprises grapple with as they modernize and transform their IT and business operations. Today, we're talking about contact center and customer experience with Five9. With us are Dan Peterson, Vice President, Northeast Sales from Five9, Orin Wentworth, Channel Director, Northeast from Five9, and Luis Camacho, Senior Contact Center Consultant from Anexinet. Gentlemen, how's it going today?
Very well. Thank you for having us.
Likewise.
Thanks, Dan. Thanks for inviting us.
In order to get us started, Dan, maybe would you mind just giving us a little overview of the history of Five9, what the company does, where you started out, what things have been going on in their world over the past couple of years?
Yeah, would love to. So Five9 is a cloud-based software as a service provider, 100% cloud solution since its inception back in 2001. Releasing its first product way back in 2003. Since then, we have evolved, grown, and innovated our way to be a significant leader in the contact center space, providing customer experience beyond what was imaginable even just 5 years ago. What we provide is not only all the options you would need for voice, but a full omnichannel, text-based channel, including social channels, SMS, and in more recent years, talking about the last couple of years, significant evolution and innovation in the areas of self-service around an area that's called IVA, or Interactive Virtual Assistant, which deals with natural language voice and bots, not only just chat bots, which were some of the early developments, but also voice bots now, so customers and providers can have an intelligent, productive conversation without a live agent that feels real, but also gets to the resolution of the customer's desired outcomes in a much quicker, smoother, and productive fashion. So really focused on driving that customer experience for the end customer, whether it be a purchase of a product or service, help with a product or service, or solving a challenge with a product or service, as well as providing for the providers, the people with the products and services, a more effective, efficient, in thoroughly visible way to provide those services to improve their business to serve their customers.
So it's a lot more comprehensive than just having a 1-800 number, I guess is what I'm hearing.
Yes, it has become a little bit more crowded in the space from the features and function sets. But what's really wonderful is that Five9, like many of the innovative providers here, are making it easier for the customers, our customers, right, the providers of those products and services, to deliver this world-class experience, because the tools are based in the cloud and are designed to be so much easier to use. One of our biggest claims to fame is ease to use that allows our customers to manage the platform on their own for day-to-day changes, day-to-day edits, changes of agents, changing of call paths, adding queues, so they aren't dependent on a third-party service provider or our resources to make those day-to-day changes that happen in real time. So they're more agile with their business as well. So easier to use is a big, big component of it.
You know, and I would jump in and say on top of that, Chris, I would echo some of what Dan is saying. I found that Five9, if you have used any type of contact center platform in the past, whether it be premise-based or in the cloud, using Five9 is that simple. You can actually log in, and it's very well laid out. As a contact center specialist, I like being able to go in and seeing everything that I'm going to be doing or using, and looking at agents, looking at as a supervisor view, checking on reports, whatever it may be. There's an ease of use and functionality there that I appreciate.
Yeah, and let's talk a little bit more about some of those functionalities. Dan, I know you said especially over the past 5 years. What are some of the things that have really come to the forefront that were either fulfilling a need that people didn't know was there, or I guess in a lot of cases, fulfilling a need that people definitely did know was there?
Yeah, a couple of things come to mind, Chris, and a really great question, because we've all been impacted by the pandemic, which, you know, is a tragic scenario for folks all over the world. But in the world of business, it's been a major impact as well, because it's done a couple of things. It's forced businesses that were not considering a full at-home resource for their agents and their customer service solutions overnight to move everybody out of the office, yet still have the expectation to provide that same level of customer service or better, right? Number two, the other big impact is that because of the tragic impacts of the pandemic, we also have a constricted workforce and availability of folks to deliver those same high-level quality services and support. So the workforce has thinned out. It's harder to get people to do the jobs. So the evolution that's really helped that is, one, the ability to have a cloud solution that allows you to have remote agents with the same level of security, same level of quality of service and support. And then secondly, with the evolution of interactive virtual assistants, IVAs, it's called for short, I can now use self-service to handle everyday interactions to help contain my customers and solve a lot of their problems without live bodies, but still have that same excellence of a result as far as customer satisfaction and getting the answers to the customers. So the coupling of distributed workforce coupled with automation and self-service has helped address some of that shortage in the workforce and that complexity of trying to take a premise-based system and distribute it to homes without infrastructure to support it. The cloud allows you to do that. I know, Louis, if you have some experience with that from your background as well.
Yes, I do. And having been, my role currently is as a consultant, but in my past lives, I've worked in BPOs as well as owned contact centers and managed BPOs, et cetera. And so that ability to stand up a platform very quickly with a partner like Five9 is excellent. In fact, you can go from zero to full in contact, running an application in just in less than 30 days. So I truly appreciate that.
And what is a VPO, just for the audience's awareness?
Oh, that's a great question. Sorry about that. I'm using jargon. That's a business process outsourcer. That's an outsourced call center, whether it be local, on nearshore or offshore. These are people that provide that contact center services.
I mean, we already know about the remote workforce, but it seems like this was the sort of thing that was already on the way from years and years of development. What were some of the other advantages that Five9 was looking at when they decided that a SaaS-based platform was the way of the future?
Yes, excellent question. There were a number of factors that really impacted this change. And ultimately, as it always draws back to, it is the demand of the customer, right? The changing workforce and the customer and the buyers of these products and services. And this is going to sound a little cliche because it's been used so much, but every one of us has a device in our hand, probably more often than we want to admit. And because we are such a mobile society now, our ability to be able to get products and services, questions answered, troubleshoot challenges, or order new products and services is done oftentimes remotely. Being able to support that demand of the customer really demanded a more fluid and agile workforce to support these demands from the customer. And the cloud allows you to do that. The big factor there is, if you look at, I'll use an obvious example, someone who sells something in a gift or seasonal business. Think about a florist and gift company. High peaks of volume around the holidays, Valentine's Day, and Mother's Day. They need scalability. With a premise-based or a physical-based solution, I need to build the infrastructure to support my highest capacities if I don't wish to degrade my customer sat during those peak holidays, which, by the way, are the most important because that's where the bulk of their revenue comes from. So having that scalability where I can go up and down can also reduce cost, but drive a better experience for your customers because I have the right size capabilities of workforce as well as self-service to address the demands of the customer. So things like self-service, being able to do things via chat or SMS, those paths were already well underway from the demand of the customer, and the businesses need to respond, and the cloud has been able to produce that solution in a timely manner and easy adoption for their workforce.
And from a digital experience, so right now when a customer has a need, back in the day, they would pick up the phone and call a contact center or a call center, because back then they were just all voice. Now it's all digital, and you can go online and start your journey there and complete everything without ever having to pick up the phone and speak to anybody.
And one of the phrases you used earlier was omnichannel. Can you explain a little bit more clearly what that means and how the cloud in particular allows that sort of thing to become part of the process and part of the platform?
Absolutely. And as veterans of the industry, we tend to use some jargon or industry slogan. Omnichannel really is a term that continues to evolve, but omnichannel means all of your text-based channels and voice-based channels through a single solution. So imagine if I have a voice platform, I do really good with the voice, but what do I do with email, chat, SMS, social, WhatsApp, Facebook, Twitters, right? An omnichannel solution incorporates all of those different communication methods and channels into a single platform so that as a customer, I have more options to interact with the business I want to do business with. As a business, I'm able to offer more paths to do business with me to my customers, helping drive business and customer satisfaction to a higher level. Does that make sense, Chris?
It does, and it seems like that's also going to allow a lot more flexibility to look at things that we might not have even considered yet in terms of future technologies that would be integrated in the same way.
Absolutely. For a full omni-channel or multi-communication path, the evolution of all of those channels to a single platform, adding in the IVA, the interactive virtual assistants, where I can use self-service and bots, right? A lot of people are familiar with chat bots, but there's voice bots as well. You may have experienced this with your own world where you call in for help, whether it's your bank or a mortgage company or a retailer, and the person you're speaking to is actually machine driven and it knows how to give you the correct responses. But the beauty of that is it's coupled with live agents so that if I need to get to a live agent for a complex issue that's not easily handled by data or bots, I have both options to provide to my customers. So the ability to expand the options and services for the customers is really only bounded by our creativity and what we want to deliver to them.
There's another element, Chris, that needs to be addressed, and that's the frictionless communication. That's where you can start the conversation in one platform and move to another without having to repeat all of the same things all over again. Which, and many times, I don't know if you've ever called into a contact center and they transfer your call, you have to start all over from the very beginning. In fact, sometimes you enter that stuff into the first prompt, you enter your credit card information or whatever it might be, and the person that actually ends up answering the call says, "What's your credit card number?" And so that removing that as part of the friction creates an overall better customer experience.
Right. And that seems like the whole idea. One of the reasons there's an emphasis on the concept of customer experience. It's not just solve your immediate problem as efficiently as possible, although that's obviously very important. It's also, what is the customer sentiment when they're done that transaction? What's going to happen when they call in again the next time? That kind of thing. So the system also has like a bit of a memory when it comes to not only this specific customer, but just customer actions and customer requests and complaints in general.
Absolutely. Building off of what Louis said, is that frictionless model really expands with the technologies now, because if you think about an experience where I may call in to order a product or service and I want to get it delivered. I want to track the delivery date. I want to have updates on the status. But once it's delivered, I may have questions on how to use or to replace certain parts or so forth. Part of that frictionless cycle is the automation of the platform to know about these full interactions, whether they're text-based or voice-based, but also proactively reach out to that customer to give them updates on the delivery date via their preferred channel, whether it be text or a voicemail, or follow up to a request for a replacement of a product or support and user help, right? Depending on the complexity of the solution. If you take it into a healthcare environment, I can automatically send text-based, email-based, or voice-based follow-up to the customer, confirming things without having to go back and mine the data, because it's all going to be automated because of that frictionless process, and all the data that we collect through that allows the system to track what needs to happen next to make sure that the customers are getting that full cycle of experience in communication on whatever topic they're discussing with that provider.
Yeah, and one thing I think also, if you could talk a little bit about, is some of the more modern, let's call it modern ways of communicating, like the social medias, the Twitters of the world. How does the system interact with those types of platforms? What are some of the inputs and outputs there?
The big trend we're seeing here from the Five9 perspective, and I'd love to hear to Lewis's perspective on this too, is really it's around the messaging. There's a lot of posts and so forth on the social medias, but what customers are getting more and more comfortable doing or frequently doing is communicating with businesses via their Twitter or Facebook account. So it's the messaging component, so I can have that two-way conversation with them on that platform, or a WhatsApp per se. More so that today than I just want to scan all the posts and look for mentions and so forth. that can happen, and there's tools that do that. But really where the rubber meets the road from our perspective is how do I communicate, respond to those interactions, and deliver that customer experience through that medium as another channel for communication.
And Dan, you're right. I mean, that's becoming more and more prevalent these days. People are purposely going to Twitter and Facebook and other media, social media platforms to get their message to the companies and get their responses, and moving away from the overall voice experience. And the beauty of that is that, through those hashtags, et cetera, you can data mine to see directionally what's going on. And if you need to make changes in your contact center, you've got the data there to look at.
And we talked a little bit about automation, but what about this kind of collecting of all this stuff from various different parts of the channels to learn something? Is there machine learning or AI or anything like that that helps inform some messaging or some decisions that the company might make?
Yes, I would argue that is probably at least currently, the most impactful development that I've seen in my career with the contact center. And AI, or artificial intelligence, and machine learning, as of recent years, have absolutely exploded from an area of development and discussions with our customers, as well as what we're doing as a company. And what that allows companies to do with the Five9 solution and artificial intelligence is to use that data effectively to better serve the customers. So if you think about things like security as an easy one to give an example of, now becoming more common because of its reliability and accuracy is using biometrics with voice. So I can call into a secure phone line, use my voice print, which is unique to me, in my bank, my healthcare, my provider can identify that that's me and confirm that's me and get me to the right endpoint with authorization and confidence that I am the person they should be talking to about that information. Other things with AI is allowing companies to understand how to better serve their customers through the data and the output, right? Because between all your text-based channels and your voice communications, there's an enormous amount of data to help us understand how to better serve our customers. And so that evolution is really having a huge impact on the success of the evolution of how customers are treating or engaging with their businesses, but how businesses are responding proactively and intelligently to better serve their customers. Another real good example of that, what we call here at Five9 Agent Assist. Imagine a world where an agent is on the phone with a live conversation with a customer in a panel on their desktop. As they're having that communication, they have a real-time translation of that text. And in the background, the artificial intelligence engine is mining that text to make suggestions and responses that are accurate to help that agent better serve that customer in real time. Great for things like compliance, as well as accuracy of information when you're doing help desk or troubleshooting, as well as giving consistency for the business to help with the branding and the quality of that delivery of service. So really impactful. Our CEO once said that AI will transform the contact center business more in the next 5 years than it has evolved in the past 25. And we're already seeing that happen today.
And the only thing I would add to that would be the fact that as a consultant, I rarely go into an initial conversation with any client where AI and machine language learning is not part of the conversation. Everyone kicks off with that.
Agreed.
Really, I mean, it seems like part of this is an evolution of just what people might expect this type of a platform to even be able to do. A lot of the things that you're talking about previously would have been, sending an email to an account executive or trying to mine information off of a company's website. If this can all get pulled into one unified system like Five9, then that means that however a customer chooses to interact, they will be able to get to the information that they need, and the system will constantly be paying attention to how they're asking that question to help everybody involved get them there as quickly and as seamlessly as possible.
Exactly. Yeah. When you talk about like containment and quality service, it's getting those customers to the right source of information, whether it's a live agent, a bot, a text-based channel, or a response via, a text, SMS, or email, is really so vastly improved. It's streamlining the process of getting to that right endpoint where the information exists. It's getting accurate information to that customer, as well as reducing the cost it takes businesses to deliver that same quality service. And so we're seeing massive expansion in engagement with the customers because the customer experience is so much more pleasant and rewarding because they're getting the answers they need in a timely manner related to the topics and reasons why they're engaging with that business. And the businesses have better information to improve their ability to serve that customer, right? Go back to that agent assist example where I'm calling in about a delivery and I have some questions or challenges with it. I can, through the agent assist, pop up offers and discounts or refunds or processes to offer that customer in real time, reducing the time it takes to get the correct answer and also improving the result of that customer solution right there on one single call. Reduces the cost for the customer, reduces the cost and impact to the business, and streamlines the entire process for both parties on that interaction. Go ahead, Louis, I'm sorry.
No, I was going to say, and on their preferred channel.
Yeah, absolutely.
And can you talk a little bit, we talked at the beginning about like updating somebody on a ticket that they have open, but what are some of the other kinds of communications that a company can like organize in terms of not just sitting waiting for customers to ask them for information or requests for assistance, but can be more proactive, reaching out to their customer base in some form or fashion that is beneficial to that customer?
So far, we've talked predominantly about inbound communication, but the other half of this equation is the outbound communication. And what we're seeing from an evolution in that space is enormous. Typical, old school outbound is, hey, I'm just dialing out for dollars, right? And trying to upsell. But now outbound can be done so much more thoroughly about wellness checks, checking in with your customers, providing offers that they've requested to have access to be able to update them on policies and procedures, whether it's a healthcare or financial update or updates or product services available to them from an existing provider. It is also used to much more effectively reach out and do for sales and customer acquisition for those departments and companies that wanted to be able to reach out and inform customers about the availability of products and services and discounts and offers available to them. So the outbound has become much more pleasant, but also much more thorough and accurate. So I'm not overcalling the same customer multiple times with the same offer, but I'm offering things that are relevant to their world based on their history with us. So the AI is very applicable there as well, in creating that to be a smoother experience for both sides of the equation as well.
And when a business rolls some of these things out, what can the platform do to help them understand the efficiency or the way that their customer base is responding? Are there, thumbs up, thumbs down kinds of things where the company can look at all the different interactions, inbound and outbound, across a whole bunch of different channels, and then our customers seem to prefer email versus text message or something along those lines that helps them fine tune the message?
Absolutely. The wonderful thing about the evolution of this technology is not only can we capture the sentiment in the preferred channels, if you will, from the customer directly, but the intelligence now through quality management and analytics allows us to interpret and analyze and evaluate those interactions, both text-based and voice, and determine sentiment, determine preferences, determine next best actions based on the interaction itself, using very sophisticated algorithms to analyze the words spoken, the tones they were spoken in, the pace, the changes in the pace. So the analytics goes much, much deeper now because I have full visibility to those interactions across all channels, and I can mine that data to understand what is best for that customer on an individual basis as well as a company-wide basis. Because of tools like analytics, because of tools like AI, and tools like sentiment analysis and picking up on tones on the actual interaction. So very, very incredible advancements on that perspective on looking at that data to determine what's best for that customer.
And in terms of that, what are some examples? You don't have to give away any customer specific information, but what are some examples of the platform being deployed where a customer saw a shock or an unexpected benefit that came along because of these types of analytics, because of these types of additional and enhanced tools?
I've seen in our own customer base where they put these to work and they'll have a very firm commitment and assumption that the customers expect this and this is what's happening in their contact center. And something as simple as we're losing the customers because the offer isn't attractive enough, right? To incentivize them to engage in more services. Well, through this data and mining, they're able to realize that it's not the offer. It was the actual timing when the offer was presented because of the data and the ability to understand when customers engage, when they react to different things through the IVR, which is the call flow, as well as the live interaction with the customers, both text and voice-based. So they can now shift when they make those offers and what type of offers are done, so they get better results and better opt-in based on the timing of the delivery, not the actual offer itself. So it's easy to assume that, the offer isn't sweet enough. It wasn't that. It was the fact that the offer wasn't presented at the right time in the right moment. Because of this data mining and the ability to do the analytics, you can now shift the process and the flow of that interaction to have greater success rate with that customer.
The other area, that's true, Dan. I was thinking more along the lines of, there are times where, we through Five9, using workforce management, being able to, their preconceived ideas about where the call volume really is and where we need to put more manpower, et cetera. And the workforce management tools have done a great job of being able to balance all of that out and provide the service levels that you need throughout the day and weeks and months, and have people, the right people at the right place at the right time to answer the right call. That's all part of that journey as well.
Yeah, I would concur 100% that the workforce management capability, that's a huge savings for the company, but also a huge impact to the customer, because having the right staffing and the right skill staffed at the right times for those peaks and valleys allows the customer experience to be enhanced immensely. Really great point.
Yeah, I was thinking about that actually, especially along the lines of what you brought up earlier about the hypothetical customer that might have a huge influx only around the holidays.
Right.
Well, on the one hand, that's where your demand is going to be, because, I don't know, let's just pretend it's a Halloween store. But it's also when people are going to be aggravated and stressed out, because usually these types of events correspond with something major that goes on in people's lives that makes them, let's just say, a little bit less patient than they sometimes could be if they were just calling in about a regular problem.
Yeah, totally fair assumption, because obviously what's driving that stress is, whether it's a Halloween or a Valentine's Day or a holiday, there's an expiration on when that product or service is valid for that particular purchase, right? In the Halloween case, I need it before the 31st of October or it doesn't matter. So the ability to have that intelligence to provide the workforce, to provide the intelligence on availability of product services, immensely powerful in not only containing costs for the business because they can staff appropriately for the peak times, but also reduce staff when it's not peak volume. But most importantly, getting the customer to the proper endpoints with the right staffing and the right skill sets to handle those requests and those requests of the business. It's invaluable. It's amazing impact and ROI when you have an effective workforce management tool in place like Five9.
Is there anything on the other side of that where we're talking about, this being a platform that assists a company that is trying to sell, other things along those lines that are part of the platform that people might not know about?
Think about all the things we've talked about so far, having the proper information in the agent's hand, right? So I know the customer's preferences. I know how many times the customer has called about this product or service. But I also know accurately from the tools that I have what my current offerings are as a product or service to offer them, right? Can I offer them better terms, maybe a discount, maybe added value by getting a special program? If you buy this now, will also include X, Y, and Z. Having that intelligence and knowing the customer well and having the intelligence of what's available from my company is going to create immense success in the conversion of customers. In addition to that, we talked about the outbound dialing. If I have all that intelligence and I'm calling people at the right time with the right offer at the right endpoint where I can reach them, whether it's a text-based or voice-based communication, my success and conversion rate is going to increase dramatically. So from a sales perspective, it is a wonderful, wonderful enhancement to that conversion rate and increase revenue.
Well, on top of that, you can identify your customers by lifetime value and give priority to certain clients over because of their relationship to the company, et cetera. And it just builds more value for the customer.
Let's walk through a little hypothetical here. Let's say, we're talking to a customer that does not have a platform like this in place. They have done things the old-fashioned way, whatever that might mean, and I'm sure that means a lot of things to different companies, but they're interested in shifting into this type of deployment. What are some of the things, the kinds of conversations you have with them? What are some of the things that you want to collect? How do you prepare? How do you set them up for success? How long does that type of an engagement take generally?
Yeah, great question. And first and foremost, we like to let them know and assure them that this can be done, this transition, while can sometimes feel scary, is not. It goes very, very smooth time and time again because of our experience and expertise. And the beauty of the cloud and the type of solutions we have is you can start small and expand based on the business needs. It doesn't have to be an all at once, flip the switch, it's all or nothing. There's always good planning and scalability so we can roll this out in a planned approach to smoothen that transition and increase adoption by the users on the business's end to engage with this technology and embrace it with success right from day one. The type of things we ask about are, where are your customers calling from? What are their typical demands? How long are the calls? What type of expectations do they have? What type of things would you like to do differently for the customer from a customer experience or customer engagement? What type of channels are you using? Are you using both voice and text-based? How many of the text-based channels are you using? Do those systems interact? What type of integrations do you need to your CRM, your customer record tools, to other database tools that provide information to better serve your customers? By understanding their existing infrastructure and information, we can design the system with our tools to leverage that information to better serve those customers with all of that intelligence. We also ask them a lot about the makeup of their customer. What are the typical types of interactions? What is the demographic of your customer? What are the business goals of your business and outcomes that you desire to drive? So we can take that into account when designing a platform. It's no longer just, hey, how do we get calls into the platform and route them to endpoints? It's, what is the objective of this process and this transition that you're trying to achieve? Do you want more self-service? Are you looking to drive revenue? You're looking to increase customer sat? All of those elements of the business. It's a high-level business discussion, not just a technical discussion anymore, to understand what are the outcomes that business wants from this transition and what other areas of the business will this transition impact. Louis, I don't know from your experience in consulting if you recognizing the same thing.
Yeah, I was going to say that the one area where, that you need to explore also is on the contact center side. There are expenses and opportunities there that can be derived by providing a platform that is easier to train agents on, that will make the experience for the agent much better and reduce turnover. It could get them to proficiency, to full proficiency in a shorter period of time, et cetera, et cetera. So there's the customer facing side. There's also the contact center facing side that is also expenses that you save on, plus the maintenance of the platform and all those other intangibles that bring about the full ROI on moving to a software-based system like Five9.
And when you see people that are interested and are starting to do the adoption, do you see them going one feature at a time? Do you see more of a kind of all in, let's get everything up and moving? Does it really vary? Is there any commonalities that people might be interested in when it comes to actually adopting this platform?
Yeah, the easy answer is it obviously varies depending on the business and what their readiness is. However, at Five9, we have a full readiness evaluation process and have very, very proud of our implementation strategies and deployments. We have the highest NPS score on our implementations in the industry by far. And that's because we look at the business, their readiness, and find out to Lewis's point, where is the big impacts in the easy transition to migrate either a business unit, a product suite, or different areas of the solution. I will tell you, Chris, though, when it comes to looking at replacing like for like, very rarely do we do like for like, because it is so easy that we're almost always going to add some additional feature functions or improvements to the process, because inherently with legacy systems or legacy processes that can now be modified or improved upon, or in some cases completely abandoned to achieve the goals of what the business is. So we have a very thorough implementation process that assures that we look at all of the desired requirements and outcomes that the business desires to achieve with this, and look at what is a reasonable starting point and a rollout strategy so that we get to an endpoint in a very short period of time, but with little to no disruption to the customer, only improvement from that cutover point forward.
Yeah, and to add to that, Chris, one of the things that I really like about Five9 is, again, that I can self-manage the platform, et cetera. I can't tell you how many times on other platforms, any changes, you have to get into a professional services agreement, and it takes 30, 60, 90 days to implement what appear to be just minor changes, and being just able to go in and make those changes on the fly or as I need is just a real benefit to any organization.
So you said previously that it was very easy for the agents to work within the system. What I'm hearing now is also that for the administrators and the company leadership themselves, it's just as easy.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and that's critical to the success of the longevity of this transformation, because as we all know, the demands of the customers continues to evolve. And in some businesses, it's on a daily basis, right? If not, it's a monthly or seasonal basis. There's lots of change. Being able to have ownership and ability and confidence to make those changes on the fly or in real time is a huge asset to the companies. And what Five9 does to make sure that that is the outcome is we have thorough training and support throughout the entire implementation process, but also from go live and beyond. Our customer care program is designed to make sure that you always have that safety net to fall back to Five9 if you need help in a timely manner to update or changes. But the point is they should have complete confidence in the keys to the castle, if you will, to make those changes and modifications on the fly on their own.
Can you imagine on the scenario that Chris mentioned earlier about Halloween, having to think about that 90 days in advance to get into a professional services agreement, to make the changes necessary to be prepared for Halloween, versus just every day that final day approaches, being able to make changes and move forward and bounce and bob and weave as the business changes?
Yeah, that day is no longer valid anymore, right? It's not workable. And that's why, these cloud solutions today and the way that we roll this out and support gives them the confidence and the assurance that they're ready to handle those changes on the fly and continue to deliver that excellence of customer experience to their customers.
All right, we're coming up on the end of our time here, so I'll give both of you an opportunity to if there's any final questions or thoughts or something you just wanted to get out on the table that we might not have discussed.
I will say that I've had the opportunity of working with the Five9 platform, and I have to be honest, I really do appreciate the level of engagement that Five9 provides and support, and like I said, I truly enjoy the ease of use and the functionality on the platform, and being able to do absolutely anything I need to do with it. So from that aspect, I truly appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you so much for the kind words. And it is something that here at Five9 we're extremely proud of. From our CEO, Rowan Trollope, all the way through our entire organization, our focus is on the customer. And I think that brings to point that I want to mention here is that while we are extremely proud of our leading and innovative technology and continue to expand its reliability, which is critical, but its innovative nature, features, and functions, but it's the people here coupled with that technology that are what making our customers so successful. And without the proper team and relationship with our customers, we wouldn't be number one in our industry. And that's what we're really, really proud of, is that partnership attitude, that customer first approach to every interaction, to making sure that they get the full use of the technology, but also the full support of our organization behind them all the way up through our CEO. So I want to thank you all for today. It's really been fun talking with you. I appreciate it.
Gentlemen, thank you very much for your time.
Thanks, Chris. Thanks, Dan.
You as well. Take care.
Bye.
Cheers.